So your startup sucks? It's not the startup's fault. Blame sales and marketing. Listen, I'm Jonathan Joel Mensor. I'm the founder and CEO of Successment. Successment's an advisory firm that helps engineer revenue for underrepresented and uninvited startups in the United States, the Caribbean, and Latin America. Okay, so check this out. If your sales and marketing are working, right? If you're hustle, killing it, you're doing all the marketing, you're doing the ads, and you're doing the social media, you're doing the events, and you're doing this, why is revenue always like a guess each month? Why is it up and down? If you don't focus on first your strategy for how you're going to build revenue before you deploy tactics in terms of sales and marketing, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to build and grow and scale as a startup. Listen, revenue operations is the idea of aligning marketing, sales, customer success, and products under one specific operation towards one goal, which is recurring revenue. If all you're focusing on is revenue, then you're a salesperson. If you don't focus on recurring revenue, then you don't really have a startup. You're building in the wrong direction. There are 5 pillars within a good revenue operation that, for me, and according to RevOps Science, which is the intellectual property I use at Successment to kind of build startups, if you don't focus on kind of powering up these 5 specific pillars, you're missing an opportunity to make life a lot easier for you and for your startup to scale faster. The first pillar is called visibility. How are you generating awareness? How do people get to know you? How do people know what you are, right? The second one is called engagement. After people are aware of you, how do you make an offer? You can offer 5 things. You can offer 5 products, 10 services. What's the one thing? What does that offer? The third one is enablement. After I am aware of you and I understand your offer, how do I buy from you? How are you going to make it easy for me? Do I buy online? Do I buy in person, cash, card, whatever? Help me get through that sales process. Number 4 is land. How do I keep you here? How do I make you part of my community? How do I make you feel loved and welcomed and special and keep you sticky around? It's all about retention, right? And then the final one is called expand. Once I have your loyalty, once you understand that you're a member of my community and not just a transaction, how do I now sell you the next product or services, right? So awareness, engagement, enablement, land, and expand. If you master these 5 pillars, you're gonna make life a lot easier for yourself. And for me, it's called RevOps Science. I'll teach you all about it. If you don't structure your startup in this way with the 5 pillars, with RevOps Science, silos start to leak money. And the reason why they do that is because they don't see what the bigger picture is. You can have a great sales team, a great sales pillar within your startup ecosystem. Not startup ecosystem, but your startup operation. But if all sales is focusing on is the next sale, and that's the only metric that they're measured on, what happens when they go on vacation? What happens when they leave? What happens when they move up? What happens when they want a promotion? What happens? Because a sale today can be gone tomorrow. You can have a great month. You can have a great quarter. If none of those customers stick around, it's a missed opportunity. Same thing with your customer success. If customer success is all focused on retention, without understanding what product is developing in order to upsell in the direction of the products that are being developed, and if product doesn't understand what the pain points of the current customers are so they can build products or services in the direction of the pain points of the existing customers, again, missed opportunity for you to acquire new customers, retain existing customers, beat the race to inflation by making sure that you're constantly upselling to current customers. And once you have a community of customers, you're not really selling, you're solving problems, and they'll see you there. The single KPI that's gonna save your startup isn't a sales or a marketing KPI. It is a revenue KPI. This is something that you can assign to marketing, you can assign to sales, you can assign to product, and you can assign to customer success every week. Think about it as a ladder of metrics, right? At the top of the ladder is your OKR. What is the general goal for this week? That's a revenue indicating metric. Revenue indicating metric. The ones that lead up to a KPIs, those are the stuff that your team is already gonna know. Customer success, how many calls did I get? How many complaints did I solve? Sales is gonna be familiar with this. How many dials did I get? How many conversations did I have? How many meetings? How many, leads do I have? Whatever the thing is. But what is the one thing that at the top of their specific operational silo that's gonna say, this indicates revenue? And for that revenue indicating metric to be really effective, you're gonna wanna make sure that it's collaborative. You understand what I mean? So if you're gonna get this amount of leads, and this is what marketing is saying, okay, we're gonna generate this amount of leads. Sales is always gonna say, you can generate me all the leads that you want, how many converted, right? So let's focus on this metric and not that one, and let's be collaborative about it. Same thing with product. How many versions did we release this week? How many services are we offering? How many, this or that? Great, but where did we get that from? Did we get that from market intelligence, from net new market, or did we get that from our current customers? Who are we responding to with this product development? Who's going to buy this new service? These are the metrics that you need to establish within your team that they work together. 80% of the dashboards that you have within sales and marketing are completely useless and a complete waste of time, and they kind of like make you feel good. It's kind of like when you're little and you have your pacifier, or you have your little, peluche, your little bear, and it makes you feel good and it makes you feel secure. Get rid of those things. Now, I'm serious. Data's great for teams, right? Internally, before they report up to you, being the founder or the CEO. You don't need to care about all those metrics. They can have those dashboards to remain organized. Those metrics should ladder up to the metrics that matter to the leadership and to you. And as the startup founder, you should be focusing on 3 things at all times. How happy are my customers? How much capital am I raising? How much revenue is being generated on a recurring basis? The other metrics that you're getting from all other areas, social media and customers and sales and products, they should help you to tell that story in terms of, yes, it's working, or no, it's not working. So the dashboards that I see in terms of generating results for the startup, you need to be really conscious of, almost like a vanguard of the metrics that you allow yourself to measure, especially when you start having a team. If you're a solo founder, you're very early in your startup career, it still matters. You need to be focusing on those top line metrics within those specific divisions of the business. And if you don't, you're just looking at a bunch of numbers. So there is a tool that I have that is totally free of cost. It's not gonna cost you a big email campaign. I'm not gonna bother you. I'm not gonna chase you down. It's ungated. It's called RWMC, Right, Wrong, Missing, Confused Playbook. And it helps your team to move from individual campaigns to focusing on compounding recurring revenue. What is this team doing that's right, and how are they measuring that, right? With metrics. What are they doing wrong, and how can they improve that? What are the metrics? What's missing, right? What do they need a budget for? And what's confusing? Who's confused? Are we confused? Are who we reporting to confused? Are the customers confused? Are the investors confused? Is the CEO who's confused? Right. Once you can see what's right, wrong, missing, confused, and you can start to measure, that's when you have an effective dashboard. It doesn't need to be tactical, like, how many pieces of content did I put out? Nobody cares. Or, how many sales calls did I make? Again, nobody cares if that doesn't lead to a revenue indicating metric, right? If a salesperson can tell you, okay, when I make 80 calls to this kind of lead consistently over a weekly basis, for example, I can convert 3 or 3.5% consistently. But if any of those things change, it changes my metric. That's the kind of clarity that you need, and that's the kind of clarity that the RWMC playbook will give you. I'm gonna leave a link to that playbook right down in the description. Very early in your journey, when you're thinking about scaling your startup, again, whether you're a solo founder, you have a small team, whatever, you want to think about 2 numbers really, really obsessively, right? And it's your customer lifetime value and your customer acquisition cost. If you want to give yourself a quick lift, right? Just consolidate all of the tech and the data that you have. It's going to save you a lot of money because tech and data is expensive, right? So if your technology or your data spend, or whomever your freelancers are, or whoever you're outsourcing to, don't contribute to LTV or CAC, just get rid of it. Instant 10%, it's like a facelift. Okay, now specifically for my founders in developing economies like the Caribbean, Dominican Republic, Latin America, if you want to create predictable revenue flows, right? Recurring revenue that's going to scale and help build your business. Just focus on doing your right, wrong, missing, confused on a weekly basis. This is not a mindset exercise. This is not woo-woo, let's hold hands and let's feel good. This is not yoga. This is a specific scientific approach that I've developed with 15 years of experience in scaling innovation, scaling startups. 36 of them have reached their first $1 million in annual recurring revenue across the United States, Latin America, Caribbean. I don't need to sell it to you, right? I don't need to for you to buy it from me. What I need you to do is use something effective, go out there, get money, and then come back and say hello. You know what I mean? So if you practice right, wrong, missing, confused, and you turn it into metrics, and those metrics inform data. That data can inform strategy, and that strategy improves your execution. A startup you will have. You will raise capital. You will generate recurring revenue. Your team will perform better, but you need a framework to do it, and it's right down in the description.